Most people hear Florida and think Miami or Orlando, and close the tab the second they see the prices. But once you move north of the theme parks and the beach resorts, the math changes completely. North Florida is a different state. Rolling hills, small towns, farmhouses on acreage, and prices that still make sense. I'm Max. I go through hundreds of listings every week, so you don't have to subscribe, so you see them before everyone else does. 10 properties, all under $380,000. By the time we reach property 10, you'll see a number that stopped me in Tallahassee, Florida's capital city. Let's go. $375,000. Already $50,000 off. And this one stopped me mid-scroll. Madison is a front porch town. Not a tagline, just what people say when you ask. The downtown runs on cobblestone bricks. There are antique shops and real restaurants. And when locals describe it, they say horses and cattle before they say anything else. County seat of Madison County, named after the 4th U.S. president. It still takes that seriously. The house sits on a full acre, fully fenced, and it has more going on than most people expect at this price. For bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,384 square feet. Step into the kitchen, and the first thing you notice is the island. Pendant lights overhead, with accent wall behind it, stainless steel appliances on both sides. That's a kitchen people actually use. The master bath has a jetted tub, a walk-in marble shower, and a double vanity with marble countertops. Picture a Sunday morning with nowhere to be. That's where you spend it. Outside, there's a saltwater in-ground pool, a poolside tiki bar, and an outdoor kitchen area. The metal shop out back has electricity and a concrete floor. Citrus trees, a chicken coop, a whole house Generac generator. New roof, new windows, new siding. Move-in ready isn't a stretch here. It's accurate. The honest part. Madison's crime rate runs at 89.6. Well above the national average of 35.4. That number matters. Drive through the neighborhood at different times of day before you decide. The property itself is fenced and private, but the context is worth knowing. $157 per square foot. In Tampa, that number hasn't been below $300 in years. This is for the buyer who wants a full Florida lifestyle, pool, workshop, land, and a real kitchen without paying coastal prices. At $50,000 off, the seller is serious. Before property 2. Quick question. Are you watching from Florida or somewhere else entirely? Drop your state or country below. I'm always curious where people are tuning in from when they're looking at listings like these. Built in 1901, already $10,000 off. And I went back to this listing twice. Perry calls itself the tree capital of the South, and that history is real. The surrounding pine forest once ran the local lumber industry. That industry has taken hits recently. A major plant closure in 2023, a sawmill shutdown in 2024. The town is pivoting, investing in growth. The Gulf Coast is 20 to 25 minutes away for fishing and scalloping. Downtown is mid-revitalization. Perry is a town in motion. The house has something you can't renovate into a property. 125 years of character. Walk up the brick steps to a wraparound porch lined with ferns, the kind that makes you stop before you even open the door. Inside, the original hardwood floors are intact, and they sound different when you walk on them. That low resonance that newer flooring never replicates. 12-foot beadboard ceilings in the bedrooms. In the main bath, there's a clawfoot tub, original in feel, fully functional. That's not a feature. That's a statement about what this house is. Out back, a spacious deck, a fenced yard, and an above-ground pool. On the property, 200-year-old grapevine still producing fruit. The detached garage has a 770-square-foot studio apartment. That's your rental income option, your guest suite, your multi-generational solution. The honest part, Perry's crime score sits at 41.8, modestly above the national average. Worth a walk through of the neighborhood. The town is working on itself, and that matters for long-term value. $160 per square foot. In Gainesville, that number is pushing $220. This is for whoever's been saying they want a historic home with character and real income potential. A 125-year-old house with a studio apartment attached just handed them both. Gray farmhouse, metal roof, Fire pit in the backyard with string lights at dusk. I kept coming back to that photo. Trenton is a town of just over 2,000 people in Gilchrist County. The locals say they have more cows than people, and that's not a complaint. It's a point of pride. One red light in the entire county. Natural springs nearby. Gainesville is commuting distance. The broker whose family has lived there for 5 generations describes it as Mayberry from the Andy Griffith Show. That's either exactly what you're looking for or exactly what you're not. And either way, it's honest. The house is 1,367 square feet, built in 2007 on a 3-acre lot. Inside, the open plan layout moves from the living area into the kitchen without interruption. Vaulted ceiling, pendant lights, shiplap island, dark hardwood floors. The master bath has a Tiffany blue double vanity with gold fixtures, a freestanding soaking tub, and shiplap walls. That bathroom costs more to design than most houses in this county are worth. The backyard at dusk is a scene that earns this property its place on this list. A stone fire pit circle with Adirondack chairs, string lights on the pergola, hydrangeas along the fence line. That's not staging. That's a life. The honest part. No price drop on this one. And at $210 per square foot, it's the highest price per foot on this list. You're paying for move-in ready in a low-crime town, 22.9, well below the national average. Trenton rent runs $930 a month. At $286,700, you're paying for move-in ready in a low-crime town. Over 5 years, that rent adds up to $55,800, handed to a landlord. This property at $210 a square foot is a premium on this list, and it's earned. This is for the buyer who wants low crime, Gainesville access, and a finished home they can move into without touching a thing. Trenton is a county with 1 red light and a fire pit waiting. 3 acres, horses allowed, Lake Talquin seconds away, and already $7,000 off. Tallahassee is Florida's capital city, but this property sits on the western edge, where the city stops and the land begins. Blountstown Highway runs toward Lake Talquin, one of the most quietly beautiful fishing lakes in North Florida. The neighborhood out here is larger parcels and mature trees, the kind of place where you hear the water before you see it. The farmhouse was built in 1968, and it still carries that era honestly. Step inside and the floors stop you, deep mahogany hardwood, the kind that's been there long enough to develop its own gloss without any help. The rooms are generous. High ceilings, crown molding throughout. The kitchen has honey oak cabinets, granite countertops, a peninsula with bar seating, and a peninsula window that looks out toward the property. Out front, a covered porch with 2 chairs already facing the tree line. That's your storm watching spot. Tallahassee gets summer storms that roll in fast and loud, and a front porch facing mature trees is where you sit for that. The honest part. Tallahassee's crime score runs at 69.1, significantly above the national average. This property is outside the city proper, which matters. And Tallahassee is a college town with 700 miles of trails. The infrastructure around it is real, but the number is what it is. Factor it in. $146 per square foot. 2 bedrooms and 1 bath is the honest limitation at this price. The land and the location are doing the heavy lifting. And in Jacksonville, $146 a foot doesn't exist anymore. This is for the buyer who wants acreage near a capital city without capital city prices, and who has horses, a boat, or both. 4.5 acres in southeast Tallahassee. Already $25,000 off. And 15,867 people have looked at this listing and kept scrolling. Southeast Tallahassee is the quiet side of the capital. Canopy roads framed by overhanging live oaks lead to residential neighborhoods close to FSU and downtown. Professors and coaches buy here for the commute. It's the part of Tallahassee that doesn't feel like a city. This property is straightforward about what it is. The house was built in 1960, recently updated with new flooring, new cabinets, new appliances, and new fixtures. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,445 square feet. The living room is clean and open. The kitchen works. The real story is outside. 4.39 flat acres surrounded by hardwood trees and blueberry bushes, with a brand new 80 by 24 foot pole barn that includes a finished 24 by 24-foot shop with a concrete pad. That barn alone would cost you $40,000 to build from scratch. The honest part, this is sold as is. The septic and electrical panel are original, functional, but aging. A new septic runs approximately $13,000. A new electrical panel runs approximately $10,000. The seller is transparent about that. Factor it into your offer math, not your hesitation. Tallahassee rent runs $1,260 a month. The land here is the asset. 4.5 acres is close to the state capital, with a finished shop already on it. It is not a number that stays available. This is for the builder, the homesteader, or the investor who understands that the value here isn't in the finishes. It's in the land, the location, and the barn that's already standing. $189,000. 15 minutes from Tallahassee. And the rent in Crawfordville runs $1,110 a month. Crawfordville is the kind of town where people still set up blessing boxes and refill them daily. See to Wakulla County, tucked between Tallahassee to the north and the Gulf Coast beaches to the south. The executive director of the local Chamber of Commerce describes it this way: you still know people when you walk into the grocery store. Growing fast, but hasn't lost a character yet. This is a manufactured home. That's the honest part. Built in 2015 on 1.62 acres and presents better inside than the exterior photo suggests. The master suite has a double vanity with granite countertops, a walk-in shower, and a separate soaking tub. That's not a standard manufactured home finish. That's an upgrade package. The kitchen has cherry wood cabinets, recessed lighting, and a full appliance suite. Split bedroom floor plan gives the primary suite genuine privacy. The back deck looks out over the open lot, with trees lining the property edge. Crime score in Crawfordville, 34.2, just below the national average of 35.4. That's a number worth knowing when you're comparing options in this region. Crawfordville rent, $1,110 a month. Over 5 years, that's $66,600 in rent paid to someone else. This property at $189,000 offers a path off that math, 15 minutes from a capital city, on acreage, with a double vanity and a soaking tub waiting. This is for the buyer who wants Tallahassee access without Tallahassee prices, and who understands that the structure matters less than the location and the land. $179,900. Already $10,000 off. Built in 1900. And they didn't gut it, they restored it. Pinetta is a crossroads community in Madison County, the kind of place that doesn't appear on most people's radar until someone who lives there tells you about it. Madison County has rolling hills, open pasture, and the quiet that comes from being genuinely far from anything loud. The nearest traffic light is someone else's problem. This house has been through 125 years, and it's still standing because someone kept caring for it. The renovations are honest. Updated wiring and plumbing, vinyl siding, insulated windows, a brand new metal roof. But the original character stayed. Step inside, and the ceilings are high enough to change the feeling of a room. The floors are dark hardwood throughout, and they carry the kind of depth you can install new. The main bathroom has vaulted ceilings, a pendant light on a long cord, teal walls, and a soaking tub positioned under a window that looks out at the tree line. That bathroom was designed by someone who understood what this house is. A large screen front porch wraps the front. The kind of porch where the evening starts after dinner and ends when you decide it does. Fenced yard, gas stove in the kitchen, tankless water heater, jacuzzi tub in the second bath. The honest part, window unit cooling and space heating, not central HVAC. In North Florida, that's manageable, but it's a real consideration for summer months. Price accordingly, $125 per square foot. 2.5 baths in a 1900 home at this price is not a combination that stays on the market long. This is for whoever has spent years saying they want to restore a historic home in the country. Pinetta just made that conversation a real one. Havana calls itself Florida's friendliest small town. At $175,000, already $6,000 off. I think they mean it. Havana is genuinely unlike anywhere else in Florida. The tobacco barns from the mid-1800s are still standing. They're filled with antiques and art now. The downtown has cafes, specialty shops, galleries, and murals painted directly onto buildings. Rolling hills. A crime score 26.1, one of the lowest on this entire list. People here know their neighbors. That's not a selling point. That's just true. The house was built in 1960, and it's been lived in well. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,035 square feet on a half-acre lot. The living room has a farmhouse sign on the wall and a gas stove in the kitchen, stainless range, original oak cabinets, and a window above the sink that faces the backyard. Spend a weekday afternoon in that kitchen with the window open, and you'll understand why people stay in towns like this. The second bedroom has a 4-poster bed and hunting prints on the wall, duck and retriever paintings, a mounted bird on the corner shelf. That room tells you exactly what kind of life this property supports. Fishing rods in the laundry room, a covered deck out back, a storage shed on the property, well water and septic. The honest part, 1 bathroom and 1,035 square feet is a real limitation. This is a starter home or retirement home, not a growing family home. Know which one you are before you call. Havana rent runs $1,030 a month. This property at $175,000 sits in a town with art galleries, antique shops, and a crime rate that barely registers. People who found Havana a decade ago paid a fraction of what property here costs now. This is for the buyer who wants small-town Florida without the tourist version of it, and who knows that a gas stove and a front porch is all the amenity they need. $160,000. Already $15,000 off. 83,000 people have looked at this listing. Most of them kept scrolling. I want to talk about why that's a mistake. Williston is horse country. Rolling farmland, quiet streets, the World Equestrian Center in nearby Ocala. Gainesville is 20 miles away. The Nature Coast is close. The town has maintained its character through growth. Small businesses, local presence, the kind of downtown that still functions. This house was built in 1952, and it kept its original materials. Knotty pine walls floor to ceiling in the living room and dining room. That would have been aging for 70 years, and it shows in the best way. Deep grain and warm color that no new install replicates. Hardwood floors under everything. A white brick fireplace centered on the living room wall with a window on each side. Picture a winter evening in North Florida. Fire going, the pine walls warm under the light. That's not a renovation project. That's already there. 1 acre, metal roof, attached garage, high-speed fiber internet already connected. The honest part, this house needs updating throughout. The kitchen is original 1952, window units for cooling, and the interior needs full renovation investment. At $103 per square foot, the price reflects that honestly. This is a project, not a move-in. Williston rent, $950 a month. Buy for $160,000. Put $60,000 into it. Total cost $220,000. Rent at $950 a month. That's $11,400 a year. In 19 years, the property has paid for itself. Most people read that math and keep renting. Some people read that math and make a call. This is for the renovator who understands that original knotty pine and hardwood floors on an acre in horse country at $103 per square foot is the kind of opportunity that doesn't stay at this price. $147,500. Already $3,000 off. In Tallahassee. I still think about this number. Tallahassee has 700 miles of trails, 2 major universities, Florida's state government. The median home price here is $249,700. This property is $147,500. In the Silver Lake area, fully fenced, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,456 square feet. That gap exists for one reason. The house needs to be finished. Walk through the door and you'll see exactly where things stand. Drywall is taped and mud. The hard part is done. Ceilings are framed and patched. The kitchen has oak cabinets and a working range. The bathrooms are functional. The bones are straight. What this house needs is flooring, paint, trim work, and someone willing to see it through. The covered storage building out back stays with the property. Here's the math. Buy it for $147,500. Budget $50,000 for a full finish. Flooring, paint, trim, fixtures, kitchen update. Total cost, $197,500. Tallahassee rent for a 3-bedroom runs $1,260 a month. That's $15,120 a year. In 13 years, the property has covered its own cost. In a capital city, on a fully fenced lot near Silver Lake. A $203K renovation loan wraps the purchase and the rehab into a single mortgage. The seller is motivated. The structure is there. Tallahassee's crime score is 69.1, well above the national average. That number is real, and it belongs in this conversation. Drive the neighborhood. Walk the street. Silver Lake is a specific area within a large city, and location within Tallahassee matters considerably. Do that homework. At $101 per square foot in a city where the median is $249,700, this is not a coincidence. It's a canvas for someone who knows what to do with one. This is for the investor, the contractor, or the first-time buyer who has been waiting for a number that makes the math work in a city that still has room to grow. The people who scrolled past this listing this morning are still paying rent tonight. You watched until the end. That's already a different calculation. 10 properties, 1 state. From a saltwater pool in Madison to an unfinished canvas in Tallahassee's capital city. North Florida has been delivering this kind of value for years. The people who found Havana a decade ago paid a fraction of what property there costs now. The people who found Williston 5 years ago are sitting on equity while everyone else kept paying rent. The window doesn't stay open forever. The people who scrolled past these listings this morning are still paying rent tonight. You watched until the end. That's already a different calculation. Links to every property are in the description. I'm Max. I go through hundreds of listings every week, so you don't have to. Subscribe. Next week, I'm in a different state, and the prices only get more interesting. Which of these 10 would you actually buy? Are you looking to invest, retire, or just finally stop renting? Drop it below. I read every single one.